Hey, welcome back to Haunted Haze. I'm Josh.
I'm Kristen.
And this is episode 3.
Yes, episode 3.
Yep, we're on a roll now.
Yes, I'm loving it.
Yep. Today's episode, I think, is going to be mostly about graveyards.
Yes. We kind of, started thinking about graveyards and stuff like that because you told me this crazy story.
Oh, yeah. So, my whole life, I've kind of been intrigued by the paranormal. And part of, what really started that for me was when I was younger, my grandparents would kind of tell us what I would call ghost stories, just stuff that had happened to them.
Experiences
that they had, yeah. And one of the experiences they had when they were younger and early on in their marriage, newlyweds, I guess, they were living with another couple in a rural area, like in Mississippi. And I believe they're relatives or something. They're just two young couples living together. And across from where they lived was a graveyard. And they said at night the tombstones would glow.
Wow.
And you could see lights kind of behind the tombstones. And they said it didn't matter if it was raining at night or if it was a full moon out, it was just all the time.
No matter what.
So, yeah, and there's no reflective light really coming from anywhere because back then they didn't have street lights. Plus, they were in a rural area.
Yeah.
It's pretty much pitch black out there.
Even still. And this was 60 years ago.
Yeah, at least. So, but they did say, when they would walk out to the graveyard and when they would get closer to the gravestones, they would stop glowing. It was
Wow.
it kind of went away. But then the further you walk back, the more it would glow.
That's interesting.
That is interesting. That's a weird kind of part to that story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would it only glow
when you're close to it?
Or not close to it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's weird. But anyway, so yeah, that kind of got us thinking maybe we should Google some stories, hey, how often does that happen? How often is there glowing
Who else has heard of a glowing tombstone?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it turns out a lot of people.
Which is crazy.
That is crazy. It's pretty common phenomenon. There's been reports in Michigan, New Jersey, Texas, Missouri, Arizona, all over the place.
Wow,
yeah.
Okay.
But one in particular keeps popping up, which I found interesting, right? So, if it's the number one popping up, there must be a lot of experiences from it. And this place is in a place called Byron Center, Michigan, which is just south of Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah. And there they have a tombstone that glows at night. And it's kind of the same situation a little bit. It glows for whenever. There's no
There's no explanation with
the
weather.
There's no kind of weather explanation or anything like that. Yeah,
but
exactly.
It's like a common thing. Everybody knows this one. Is it just one tombstone?
I believe so. I'm gonna kind of read a little bit about it for you right quick.
Okay.
So this is in Byron Center, Michigan. I said there's a cemetery just outside of Byron Center on Homerich Avenue, just southwest of town. The Winiger Cemetery. A handful of tales have been circulating for years about the paranormal activities that occur in this graveyard. The most well-known are the glowing gravestone and a female apparition from the 1800s.
Wow.
Yeah, that's scary. A tombstone within the cemetery is said to glow in pitch blackness, with no other lights in the vicinity shining on it, or even a bright moon. Curiosity seekers travel to this graveyard at night to see if they can find the glowing grave. Paranormal investigators have frequented the site. One team took a handful of random photos and took them home to develop. Upon developing, they saw the ghostly figure of a little girl sitting on one of the gravestones.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's crazy. The team said the girl was covered in orbs. They say, but I don't believe in so-called orbs so much. But the figure of the little girl apparition definitely does make me believe in it.
And there's just something about little kid ghosts
I know,
that are
that's
the most frightening.
scariest. Yeah. Yeah, that's terrifying.
It's like because
it's
you're
like
supposed to be tricked by their innocence.
Yeah, I think that is. Yeah, there is something to that. It's like you think like they're innocent, but then no, now you're haunted.
So I kind of have a story to read.
Well, hang on, I got one more here.
Oh, okay.
And it says, on a separate occasion, a couple of female curiosity seekers went to the cemetery during the day to look for the glowing gravestone. They saw a figure of a woman dressed in 1800s clothing walking amongst the graves. The figure turned and looked at the two ladies, gave them a smile, walked away, and seemed to vanish. Even though this occurrence happened in the daytime, the two ladies claimed they would never set foot there again.
Wow.
So would you go there? Would you go to the grave site to see the glowing grave? I'd want to see it.
My first instinct says, yeah, I want to see it.
But the apparition part definitely scares me.
I don't want to see it. I don't want that part.
Yeah.
Can I just get the glowing? How much for that tour?
Yeah. Yeah, hold the side of apparition. Yeah, thanks. I just want the glow.
That's what I want to go.
Yeah.
It's kind of like one of those things like bioluminescence, but in a graveyard.
Oh, yeah, right. That might be interesting. That might be something to that, yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
But that's interesting. So that kind of corroborates my grandparents' story, I guess,
Absolutely.
a little bit. You know?
Like, other people have had that experience. That's a weird phenomenon.
That is, especially having so many different states. And that's just in the United States. I didn't even really look around the world.
Oh, yeah, who knows?
Who knows, you know.
Maybe if you're listening to it, you should look into, is this ever happened anywhere else in the world?
Yeah, does anyone know of any other place that has...
Or, hey, have you ever seen a glowing tombstone?
Yeah, that's really interesting. All right, so you said you had another story that was kind of similar to this?
Yeah, well, it involves a cemetery in Colorado.
Okay.
All right, so it's this story that this lady wrote in. It's called "The Ghost Lights of the Silver Cliff, Colorado Cemetery."
Okay.
All right, so many people believe this to be an old ghost legend. It has been carried down since the beginning of the towns West Cliff and Silver Cliff. The legend is that the ghost lights of the Silver Cliff Cemetery. Up until 2 months ago, I would have written this legend off as a bit silly fun. No longer will I say this, for I have seen them in person. It began as a family history project. My grandfather is buried in the Silver Cliff Cemetery. Now, it should be noted that there are actually two cemeteries. One is for the Catholics and one is for the Protestants. Okay. I'm told that my granddad is buried in this Catholic cemetery. The other one is called the Cross of the Assumption Cemetery.
Alright.
My sister and I, along with two friends, decided to investigate these lights for ourselves. We arrived at about 8 p.m. on a night this past July. After visiting my granddad's grave and saying a few words, we drove another few hundred feet over to the Cross of the Assumption Cemetery and settled in. Two of us were armed with cameras, one digital and the other a cheap pocket camera. The cheap pocket camera was not set with a flash, and it did not have a flash go off at any time. The four of us were more or less separated once we got there. My sister stayed with the car and sat on the hood, while the three of us started walking around. I'll admit, I'm a fraidy cat. Same.
Yeah, right.
And I didn't leave my friend's side. His wife, however, took off on her own and wandered all around the place. Around 9, the first lights were seen. They were small and mostly about the size of a pinky fingernail. That's pretty small, I would say.
Yeah, that'd be hard to see, maybe.
Well, they ranged in colors, from blue to green to white to yellow, and various combinations of the colors.
Oh, wow.
As the time went on, the lights became more numerous and larger and more active. Some seemed to be extremely active, darting from headstone to headstone, never stopping.
Oh, wow.
Others seemed to float in a lazy fashion, landing in the grass, on the headstones, just wherever. By 10 p.m., they were as big as 3 to 4 inches in diameter.
Also, they're growing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And now they're glowing more brightly.
Oh, wow.
As we stood facing the large white marble cross at the center of the cemetery, we all noticed an orangish glow begin. It was to our left at the extreme border of the cemetery. As we watched it, the glow became larger, brighter, and seemed to illuminate. It grew to be the size of a football and resembled the glow of a campfire. The various lights seemed to start gravitating toward this glow, and they would dart towards it, then return, landing here and there. We tried approaching, but as we got closer, the light became dimmer.
Oh,
when
wow.
we retreated, it began glowing brightly again.
Oh, man. Wow.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, really. It sounds like my grandparents.
Right?
So, yeah, that's crazy.
One odd occurrence was with the large cross. Made of white stone, probably marble. In the night it had a ghostly pale gray-white cast to it. My friend with the digital camera took a picture of it. The result in her view lens, the cross glowed a deep, dull red.
Oh, wow.
Running up one side of the cross was resembling a string of teeny tiny Christmas lights, and they appeared to be shooting towards the sky.
Man.
That's odd.
That is odd. That it would glow red when it's actually gray looking.
And it's a cross. Like, it just seems something weird about that.
Yeah.
The other odd occurrence was with my friend. As she started walking along the cemetery, we all noticed that some of the lights seemed to follow her. They danced around her and stayed right with her. When we tried getting near to her, they would move away. When we retreated, they would come back. She could see them around her. As 11 approached, the lights were now getting close enough to us that we could reach out and almost touch them.
Oh, wow.
They no longer moved away from us, nor did they dim. I can state positively that these were not fireflies or lightning bugs of any kind. It was as if you were touching the air.
Wow.
What I saw, I don't know, but I do believe, and I do want to state this. People claim that it's caused by town lights reflecting up into the sky and back down onto the tombstones. They state that it's the stars reflecting onto the shiny surface of the tombstone.
What?
But I'd like to make a point here, something that I have not seen pointed out. These tombstones are old. For the most part, they are aged and weathered. Any shiny surface on 90% of them has long since worn away.
Oh, yeah.
They are dull and dirty and look very much as old as they are.
There's no reflection.
What's left on them to reflect?
Yeah.
And since dried prairie grass does not reflect anything, what could explain them being in the grassy sections?
Oh, wow, exactly.
The condition on the night we were there was no moon, no stars, cloudy, overcast.
Oh, wow, so where's the light source? Yeah.
A bad storm was actually moving in, and there was not lightning that was striking near us. The closest lightning was about 60 miles away.
Okay.
So, if they are reflections from light in the town, can anyone explain why they've been seen up there since before there was electricity in the area?
Oh,
that rules
point.
that out completely.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point.
I've also yet to come across any articles of people being able to get near enough to reach them. But we did. We took our time and stayed almost totally silent for the 4.5 hours we were there. We slowed our movements, almost sluggish. We were gentle when talking about them. We kept our voices to an almost whisper. We spoke about them with a reverence and awe, which seemed to feel right to all of us. When we did finally call it a night, we retreated to the car, and we were surprised to find them all around the car, once again close enough to touch. They did not diminish in our headlights as we left. I believe they are of the Sidhe, which means Gaelic. It's Gaelic for fairies.
Okay.
It's spelled Sidhe. Kind of
so
weird.
She.
But yeah, so
like a fairy.
Basically, and it said, this person said they believe that, yeah, maybe it's a fairy, and whatever they are, he believes in it. He saw it firsthand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so he had many good points. Like, if they've been seeing them before, electricity, was invented.
Yeah,
and this is a cloudy, dark night. Yeah, and the grass, like what's reflective in the grass.
For sure. Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, I can really imagine it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Like I can really imagine these like little
like just
orbs
kind of
almost.
yeah.
That's kind of what I'm picturing.
Yeah, that is very interesting. And when it talked about getting closer to it, you couldn't see it, and then getting further away from that tombstone, right?
Yeah.
That's very similar to my grandparents' story. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, that really is a kind of a really big coincidence.
Yeah, for
that
sure.
Both of the stories about these glowing cemeteries, that both somebody you personally know and trust told you this as a child.
Yeah, well, this wasn't it's not the same cemetery either, though.
No, well, yeah.
So that's interesting too. It just seems like multiple cemeteries have these kind of phenomena. Which,
definitely gives it a little more of a truth feel.
Yeah, for sure. Like if there's multiple places that are experiencing the same thing, it's not just regionally. Yeah, there definitely seems like there's something else to it for sure.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of hope that one day maybe I get to see something like a glowing tombstone. Kinda, I do. All right, so listen. Thinking about the cemetery.
Okay.
You know, I like to learn. I like to be looking into historic facts. So I'm about to come at you with some freaky facts.
Some freaky facts. Okay.
Yes. So this is just some stuff I found. When I think about going to a graveyard, something I always worry about is like a hand coming up out of the grave and grabbing you by the ankle.
I got you, yeah.
Yes, that's so
like
scary to me.
Yeah.
So I'm obviously not the only one scared of that, because back in the Victorian times, it was common to zombie-proof these graves by attaching metal cages and building them all above the grave site, so that anything that came out,
the coffin.
yeah, so anything that came out would be trapped in this metal cage, you know. So, and it said that was a thing because there was such a fear of zombies and vampires at the time.
Wow, that's really...
And this person, I saw somebody commented on it, that his idea of a good way to zombie-proof is just to tie all dead people's shoestrings together.
Yeah, maybe that'll work.
Yeah, they'll be tripping and falling.
How could anything dig out of the ground like that? You know
I might put that in my will to tie my shoestrings together whenever I get buried.
What if you're like that in the afterlife, though?
Oh, true, and I'm already clumsy. Anyway,
yeah,
so here's something else, is archaeologists revealed that in medieval Yorkshire, they were so afraid of the dead rising that they would chop, smash, and burn the dead before burial.
Wow, that's extreme.
They were like, hell no, you're not.
That makes you wonder, like, what the hell happened
to make them that scared. Well, in ancient Greece, in the island of Sicily, they were so scared of the dead rising that they would weigh their dead down with rocks.
Wow.
And, which is weird because they would also try to contact the dead through necromancy, which is, I guess, sorcery. Yeah, sorcery, kind of like in that movie, The Princess and the Frog, the evil guy. Oh, yeah, the bad guy.
That's kind of what he's doing with the spirits he has.
Okay, so he's like working through the dead.
Yeah, he's like working through the dead. Right. Yeah.
So something else that's scary about a graveyard is being buried alive.
Oh, yeah, that's terrifying.
It is absolutely terrifying, and people have been scared about it for a long time because...
I think it happens a lot. Or it used to happen a lot.
Well, back in the 18th and 19th century, there was several variations of a safety coffin or a security coffin, which basically were to help you in case you were buried alive.
Oh, wow.
Some of the variations...
But you have to pay extra, though, right?
Oh, I'm sure. You know, the funeral businesses. Variations included, obviously, communication devices so that somehow you could communicate above the ground. So there was bells, flags.
Just ignore that.
Pyrotechnics.
Pyrotechnics?
What they got? They got buried with a bottle rocket and a lighter. Shoot them up through the tube.
If you're still alive, Larry, light the rocket.
Fire it through the tube.
I can't do
Anyway,
it.
they also had ladders, escape hatches, and even feeding tubes.
Oh, wow.
But the one thing that they all mostly forgot was a way to provide air.
Oh, wow, that's dumb.
It is.
Look at all the things that you're going to forget. Like, that, shouldn't that be number one?
And one
Or
guy,
some water.
one guy was so into being buried alive that he did it several times to demonstrate
On
the
purpose?
different designs of the security coffins.
Oh, wow.
So at one time he said he ate an
He was like,
entire
"That's fine."
meal down there
Oh, wow.
in the coffin.
Well, how was he able to breathe?
Well, maybe he worked that out because he did it several times, so he
Oh,
must
you got
have
the
had something.
super extra special package.
Yes.
Yeah.
With the super extra special package.
Yeah, you get a breathing tube.
You get a scuba gear.
You get a scuba gear. Perfect.
Yeah, for real.
Well, those are actually pretty interesting. Like, graveyards are creepy.
They are creepy.
I know everything there is dead, right?
Yeah, so you really have nothing to be afraid of.
to the
But
dead.
it is spooky, and it's just a weird energy.
So I kind of also feel like if I was to see a full apparition anywhere, that would probably be my number one place I would think on my list. You know what I mean? As opposed to like a building.
Like likelihood?
Yeah, likelihood. Yeah.
Oh, for
like,
sure.
I think I would be more likely to see an apparition at a graveyard than anywhere else.
I'm pretty sure at one point in our early days of dating, we did go to a graveyard at night.
Oh yeah. But yeah, everyone does that, right?
Yeah, but that's the only time I think I've ever done that because, like I've said before, and I'll say it again, I'm a chicken. Straight up.
Very much so, yes. You're scared of your own shadow sometimes.
All right, so I want to do something fun now.
Okay.
Let's bring back verses.
All right, our segment Verses.
Yes,
I
and
love this segment.
We're going to pull out again the super duper secret box.
Okay, the super duper secret box. We're going to pick another.
It's evolving, and
I like doing this because there's no right or wrong answer. It's just the first thing we can think of. We have one scary thing versus another scary thing,
Yes.
and which one do we think is scarier?
all right, so I'm going to pick this week because I think you picked last.
Yep.
All right, I'm
So this is
shaking it
just
up real
random.
good.
So we have no idea what it's going to be. That way, it's just genuine answers.
All right, let's see what I got.
All right.
Dun,
Here we
dun,
go, drum
dun. Oh, goodness.
Okay.
Disembodied Voices
Oh.
versus Apparition.
Oh wow! How perfect.
It really is.
Wow,
Didn't
disembodied
even plan
voices versus apparitions. So which one would be scarier?
that. Okay, so let's think about Disembodied Voices.
Well, I guess with disembodied voices, it would depend on what was being said.
Yeah.
What exactly said. But with the apparition, I mean, that's actually seeing something,
For sure.
right? That's actually seeing something. So that's pretty scary.
I've never actually heard a disembodied voice, but
Well, you
I
had that
think I would.
breathing on you?
Oh yeah, that's true.
At
So
the apartment
and
when it was like,
and we did hear the whole cop conversation,
Yeah, that's
so I guess
totally
that is
disembodied,
disembodied
yeah.
voice. So on the other hand, though, we have apparitions.
Yeah, exactly. So with apparitions, I mean, that's visually seeing something, right? Like that's actually seeing like you can
a
see.
ghost.
Yeah, like it's usually you can see a lady, you can tell the dirt, what she's wearing. I think they usually say you can like maybe smell perfume.
You can see
tell-
like their
you can actually
facial
see
features.
detail, yeah.
Yeah,
So that's really scary.
that is scary.
So it's like
'cause-
seeing a person that's not there. I
Yeah.
think that's way scarier than maybe disembodied voices.
the disembodied voices. Maybe you can kind of.
It really depends on what they're
maybe-
saying. Is it the
'Cause-
get out? Get out?
Because could you
Because
say
that's way terrifying than just seeing a lady from the 1800s, right?
for sure? Yeah.
So it kind of there is context there.
Yeah, for sure. And disembodied voices, though, could that be in your head too?
That's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, is
I
seeing
guess
something?
seeing an
Yeah,
apparition,
who
that
knows?
could be your eyes playing tricks
That's
on
true.
you.
You can never say for sure.
For sure, but
Because just because you see like a lady and you're like, no, there's no way there would be a lady that's dressed up in 1800 century clothes.
yeah.
But maybe there is.
Well, I was
Maybe there's
kind
a
of
crazy
imagining
lady.
them being a little see-through, so that's how you know that they're ghosts, because they're a little see-through.
Oh, I don't know. I guess maybe they could be, but I think most of the time an apparition is like a full-bodied person.
Okay, so this is something that I should definitely look into for some freaky facts. It's like
Yeah, that'd be
apparitions
good.
and
Yeah,
ghosts.
apparitions versus ghosts.
Yeah.
But still, like I said, the disembodied voices, I do feel like, it just really depends on what they're saying, I think. But I think
what if the disembodied voices in your house are like ghost energy that just wants to party all the time? And
hey, wake up.
Turn up the music. Let's get it going.
This is awesome.
Fist bump.
Like, please stop. Like, how embarrassing with that? You got, like, friends over?
I'm sorry, that's my ghost told
Let's go!
Shh. He wants to party all the time.
Wow. That'd be annoying.
But you never get those kinds of
in the middle of it's always they want to fuck with you.
Yeah, or like
bother you.
Scare you, or kill you, or possess you.
I think it's just because ghosts want you out of their space.
Yeah.
I really think there's something to do with...
They don't get the concept of buying and selling property.
What? No, they don't care.
Like, no ghosts, this is mine now.
Yeah. But what do you think? We're gonna put some stuff up on Instagram,
I want to put some pictures up.
We're gonna show you some pictures of some
of those creepy grave
Center.
things.
Yeah, some of the grave places. And let us know what you think. You can always hit us up at hauntedhazepodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, please
send us your questions. Send us your stories. We're still looking for scary stories.
And tell us what you think was scarier, the apparitions or the disembodied voices.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And if you have any ideas for future verses that you want us to throw into the super duper secret box.
Yep, we're always looking for those. I enjoy doing this verses. I think this is a good segment.
And if you do...
We're trying to make this fun. Trying to make it fun and funny, but but still with a scare factor.
And if you do send us a verses, we'll put your name on there, so we'll give you a shout out totally when we draw it.
Yep. Also, be sure to check out
Hippie Haze Studios.
Hippie Haze.
At Hippie Haze Studios on Etsy, Facebook, Instagram, all that.
Yeah, we design
art, stash boxes,
tie-dye, decor, tie-dye.
Yes, I have new tie-dye coming in soon.
Yeah, if you or someone you know is looking for a gift, hit up Hippie Haze.
Yes,
I'm sure we can help you.
If it's something that you see that you like, but you would like something maybe a little different, just let us know.
And thank you very much for checking out this episode, which is episode 3 of Haunted Haze.
Yes.
If you enjoy it, please let us know. Hopefully you like us on social media.
And come back next time for episode 4.
We'll be back for episode 4.
Yes.
We're not sure what we're going to do yet. We'll see.
We'll sleep on it.
I got some good
Maybe
ideas.
Put some ideas in a hat and draw.
There's a bunch of stories that we can tell. So
for sure. A lifetime's worth.
Yeah, for sure.
Till next time.
Stay haunted.
Peace out.
Peace out.